What's up, everybody? It is a beautiful day here in Columbiana, Alabama for round one of Clutch Kickers here at Mid-Pond, and we are stoked to have you here. I'm Tara McGlamory.
And I'm Austin Lawless.
And thank you so much for joining us. As you can see, we've got the drivers back behind us getting some practice runs in, but we thought we'd take this time to talk with you for a little bit, get to know a little bit more, let you get to know a little bit more about what we're going to do differently here with Clutch Kickers now that it's at Mid-Pond. So for those of you who have never heard of Mid-Pond, never been to Mid-Pond, as you can see, it's a magical place. Very technical track. The owner, Ken Martin, has done a phenomenal job of making this a paradise for drifters all across the Southeast and beyond.
Sorry, I was trying to mess with the mic. Yeah.
We're both newbies at this, so y'all please be patient with us. We really appreciate it.
Yeah, we're stoked to have you guys out of Mid-Pond, firing Clutch Kickers back up here in Alabama, and it's obvious.
Lots of excitement here, lots of noise. So yeah, we're happy to hear from you, happy to hear some of your questions. So what we're going to do today, we've only got an hour just for our pre-show. So I thought what we would do is we're going to bring on some of the different key players who are going to be involved with this season of Clutch Kickers. Of course, we'll have the judges. So we'll have Will Parsons here. Most of you should know him from being a previous judge with Clutch Kickers back at Holt. We'll also have the Race Data Labs team with their new telemetry system doing some of the digital judging. So that's going to be exciting. They're going to walk through how their system works. And then, of course, our near and dear friend, Curtis Hall, the big jolly red giant, is going to be here to talk us a little bit about tech and make sure that we have everything we need to help our drivers be informed and also to make sure that you're informed before we get into the main content.
Yeah, really excited to check out the Race Data Lab stuff. It's their first time trying this out in the United States, and the technology's pretty crazy. The telemetry, the data they're going to be able to use to help the judges out. We do have real judges, but the Race Data Lab stuff's really exciting. Obviously, we'll have Curtis in here explaining some of the new technical rules, some of the changes that have been made, some of the things that we've added, and just try and get it out there in the air so that anyone that wants to try Clutch Kickers as it reemerges can, and they know what they're up against and know what they need. Yeah,
absolutely. Well, so before we bring Will on to talk a little bit about the judging criteria and some of the things that he's going to be looking for as a judge, for those of you who have never been to Mid-Pond, gosh, man, what's this place? Ken bought this, what, in 2016, 17,
16 or 17, something like that.
So around the same time that Clutch Kickers was founded as well. So it's kind of an interesting way that all of this came about. But yeah, Ken bought this track back in 2017. It was just a kart track. And he kind of started to adopt it, using it for mini moto. I think he actually still did some kart track stuff. But it eventually became to what it is today, which is a drift track. And like I mentioned before, it's kind of the home for a lot of drifters in the Southeast and beyond. So Clutch Kickers itself, like I said, it's founded around 2017 as well, originally at Emerald Coast Raceway, which unfortunately we lost that track. We had Cletus McFarland, fantastic human, who offered to take over the series at Freedom Factory for 2023 season. But he had a lot of stuff that he was dealing with, so unfortunately it wasn't much of a long-term thing for us there. So here we are now at Mid-Pond. It's going to be the new home of Clutch Kickers, so we'll have every round here, every season here for now, possibly some expansions outside of this, but hey, one round at a time. We'll get through it until we can figure out what's going to be the next steps for Clutch Kickers. Awesome. So, yeah.
Sorry, just listening as much as everybody else out there because this is all coming back around. I wasn't really active with the initial run of Clutch Kickers, so I'm a little behind on some of that, but I was watching from the outside view. It looked like a pretty cool program. I know a lot of people that want to compete in a sort of more grassroots style than a pro competition are really excited to see it come back, and we're just happy to be here and have a new home for it, and hopefully we can get it fired back up, get people excited about this to come out, start coming to all the rounds, and really get it to pick back up. As today is pretty cool, definitely something new for me, so we're all learning today.
Yeah, for sure. I also didn't have anything really to do with the original Clutch Kickers, other than the fact that we, of course, attended. My husband did compete in one event.
Yeah, so you guys were there,
yeah,
at least,
yeah.
you know?
But he had the privilege of competing against Alec who absolute ripper and any good day. So my husband was in a stock VQ, but he wanted to try it, and that's what this competition is all about. It's not about pro driver exceeding. It's really about grassroots driving, pro drivers coming together in something that is truly different for its time.
Absolutely.
Now, obviously, we have a lot of different series that are like this now. You've got U.S. Drift Circuit, U.S. Drift. There's several other organizations that have really taken this and run with it in terms of like a grassroots drifting series or a grassroots comp. So it's really exciting to see how much has grown in the community since then.
Absolutely. It's changed a lot.
Yeah.
And it's pretty cool to see it and to have a new home for it to reemerge and have it back in the Southeast again.
Exactly.
Honestly.
Exactly. Well, and so Austin and I are both drifters as well. So we both drive Mid-Pond. We've driven together here at Mid-Pond.
Yeah.
So it's kind of like, again, interesting how everything's coming full circle. Which, speaking of full circle, you may have heard rumors, if you're familiar with Mid-Pond, you may have heard rumors about the track expansion, which unfortunately did contribute to a little bit of our delays here with the Klutch Kickers series, geez, Tara, getting started here for season 1. So what we're basically doing is we're expanding this entire side of the track. So we're going to essentially have a totally separate track. What used to be a bunch of trees, pine trees, is now going to be a new pits area for drivers, new spectator parking, as well as camping areas, and a totally different track. So as you can see over on the horizon there, that's all the new track work that's happening. We're talking about 30 acres of expansion. So that, you want to talk about a drifter's paradise? This is going to become new home for a lot of people.
Yeah, it's pretty wild because it has been a home for a lot of the Southeast drift scene since it has opened up. Even me being from north of Atlanta, this is kind of a big destination for people to just come drive, hang out, whatever. It's kind of filled a huge void in that general area in the Southeast and been a real track for people to go to and practice. And yeah, now with looking at the new track setup is going to be pretty insane. Looking forward to this place expanding, being here today has been a little bit of a real bringing me up to speed on like, oh, this is actually happening. Like the Klutch Kickers thing is such a different vibe than the grassroots events that I'm used to doing. The level of the cars is different, but also everyone's mindset is the same. They're here because they love drifting. They want to try and do something a little bit more competitive, and they need a place to do it. And here it is. And yeah, the fact that it's just growing and still around after 7 or 8 years of development and just going through the motions and figuring out those kinks, it's pretty tight.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, we've got some great aerial footage right now. We've got some behind-the-scenes footage of the drivers on track. So we're going to pass it over to you to just kind of watch some things for just a second while we get Will Parsons up here to talk a little bit about the judging criteria and what you need to be on the lookout for tomorrow during our live stream. So we're going to take a quick break, and we're going to grab Will, and we'll be right back.
There's more of us than you think, quicker than you can blink. You're lost for your will turn to consume. It's in the water we drink, poison in the spring. But we'll take back all the power. I won't bend the knee. I don't care who's coming after me. I won't bend the knee. I don't care who's coming after me.
Awesome. Well, everybody, those of you who have seen Klutch Kickers before, before, may be familiar with this face. Maybe you had a positive experience with him. Maybe you didn't. Sorry about that. But this is Will Parsons. He is one of the former judges and now a current judge for us here at Klutch Kickers. So, Will, let's talk a little bit about like what you're going to be looking for since you're going to be one of the physical judges that's here with us. We've also got the Race Data Labs team, which we'll talk about them here in a second. But talk about like what you're looking for from these drivers.
So this track is actually very similar to the original OG Klutch Kickers at Emerald Coast. It's very technical. It's tight. It has a lot of interesting aspects. So really what we're looking for is a lot of commitment from the drivers.
Yeah.
It's going to be a big part of my score as the, as the judge. Looking for fast rate to angle, just a lot of commitment and hitting the zones correctly. The start line is very short, so they don't get very much run-up time at all. So they're really going to have to push to initiate at the correct time and get initiated and get drifting as the lead car. Though we're giving the follow car a little bit of leeway, so as the follow car, we're looking for proximity and really mimicking the lead car's line around the whole track. And the track looks awesome. It's very similar to the first 2 seasons of Klutch Kickers. So
Awesome.
That's cool to hear from someone that was there, that it's kind of, starting off in a similar place.
yeah, and judging the first 3 years was awesome, and I'm super excited to be here. Yeah.
Sorry, everybody out there. We are realizing that when the cars go by, we cannot hear each other talk, so it's throwing us off a little bit. So we're going to work through that with you guys.
Yep. Almost.
Almost.
Yeah.
A
Sorry.
lot of high horsepower cars out here, so it's really difficult to hear.
Yep. Cruising.
So, Will, one of the things that's going to be different from the drivers who are accustomed to driving mid-pond is the clipping points and some of the things that we want to see out of their line. So can you talk to me a little bit about like what proximity we want to see these drivers in and what clipping points we have set up on the track today?
Yeah, so basically we have a right-hand initiation, and then the first hairpin turn is an outer zone. We want the lead car to fill that entire outer zone, and then they're coming off that outer zone. There's an inner clip on the inside of the track. Mm-hmm. They're transitioning to outer zone 2, which is a very big sweeper that goes all the way around this pond here. So they need to be on the outside of the track all the way around. Big transition into outer zone 3, which is the hairpin on this side of the track. And then they're dialing out the angle and accelerating to make it to the touch and go, which is in between turn 6A and 6B. Then they're accelerating that whole way until they get to the very last hairpin. And we want to see, nice flick to angle and just staying at the angle that they get all the way around the sweeper or the last hairpin through the exit clean. As a follow car, we want to see them really mimic that line and not get separation anywhere on the track, really being aggressive.
Kind of a great example of that now.
Yeah, so here he's in outer zone 2. He came off of it early. Kind of late into outer zone 3. Accelerating. He's good on the touch and go. Got the beginning of that last outer zone.
There.
But yeah.
Okay, he finished out strong.
Yeah.
So one of the things that's interesting too, and this is again as a driver here at Mid Pond, you're very familiar with those rumble strips. So
Yeah.
actually those are going to be considered to be out if you hit 2 tires on those rumble strips. So what we saw from the driver previously, looks like he pretty much had 1 tire in at that time. Didn't cross over, maybe except for one area I think I saw questionably before we switched back. But otherwise, I think that was a great run for him.
Yeah, so that was a decent run for sure. Wait for these cars to pass again.
Sorry.
So loud.
That was a really good filling of that outer zone by the lead car right there, and he's back into it on the sweeper. Pretty good example there, making it out to the touch and go.
Yes.
And
That's Hunter Shackman in front. And I'm still, so we got the 2 350Z drivers, and I still, that's a 370, I believe, but I still can't tell the difference between
Yeah,
the 2 yet.
they look very similar.
They're identical, so we've got 2 drivers here basically completely matching, so it's difficult to tell them apart.
Both of those guys are out of Texas, too. Interesting.
Awesome.
But, yeah.
Well, Will, is there anything else, like any planning work?
I didn't hear you. you.
Any parting words that you want to tell the audience? Anything else they need to know?
This is going to be very similar to the first 2 seasons of Clutch Kickers, and it's going to be a very exciting series. I think it's going to be very competitive today and tomorrow when we start the competition. I think the drivers are already showing that they can lay it down on this track and the setup that we've done for them. It doesn't flow quite the way as the party lines do on this track normally, but we're setting it up to make the tandem better for the spectators and for the run of competition. So as a driver, it may not flow as great as, just when you're out here partying, but it should set up the cars to where they're stacked the entire time.
Yeah,
That's what we're going
absolutely.
For. Yep.
Awesome.
Well, seriously, Will, thank you so much.
Yeah.
We're glad to have you here. We're glad to have you to be able to talk. I know this isn't really your forte. You're used to yelling at cars and telling them what they need to be doing differently, but we really appreciate you coming in here and with us.
I'm glad you guys brought me out again.
We're stoked to have you, man.
Yep.
Oh, yeah.
The last OG from the original series.
Awesome.
Welcome back.
Welcome back indeed. Well, so we're going to let Will go so he can get back to working on just doing some test spectating and test judging here. And we're actually going to take you over to who may be a familiar face. We've got Sarah Reardon, who's going to be talking to the race. No worries. We got Sarah Reardon. Geez, I told her I was going to mess her name up. She knew I was going to do it. But she's one of the commentators in the pits for the Gambler Series, as well as U.S. Drift. So she's definitely a common face in the pits here. So we'll let you go, Will, if you don't mind. You're happy to just kind of disco. And thank you, Will. We appreciate your time, man.
And we've got a few minutes before that parking lot interview setup is ready, so we're going to just keep cruising here as we got a little bit of practice, but it looks like the car's just pulled off, so we're just kind of filling a little time here.
We're hearing word that the rain just started, so that's what's kind of causing some of the delays here. So we knew it was going to be kind of risky today, whether or not it was going to rain, which is actually a really good thing for us to talk about. So tomorrow's forecast is looking a little
rough tomorrow,
we may have some rain. But here's the thing. If it's rain, we're still going to drive through it. That's not going to change. We did that with Clutch Kickers previously, but very similar to Clutch Kickers before. Were you there the year that the tornado came through?
I wasn't here for that. No.
Man, most people remember that. It was really sketchy. So obviously we want to avoid situations like that. Not much we can do about the weather, not much we can do about tornadoes specifically. But we do what we can to keep our drivers safe as well as our spectators. So tomorrow, in the event that we do have severe weather, we will have to unfortunately shut the track down. So how we determine that is if there is going to be lightning within 5 miles of the track for longer than 20 minutes. So we'll shut down for 20 minutes, make sure we're clear from lightning. We'll give the drivers the green light. We'll go back on the air. So please know there may be a little bit of disruption during our live stream service tomorrow just because, unfortunately, we can't predict the weather.
Yeah.
But, hey,
that's always a factor with anything, especially drifting or motorsports. You come out on a weekend and you hope for the best, but sometimes it rains, and it's still spring. We are definitely got the some ominous clouds lurking, and there's a little bit of rain firing up, but we're hoping it's not supposed to stay for long, and we can kind of work through that. Again, today's just kind of a pre-show for everyone to let everyone know what's going on, and we're hoping tomorrow that we get fair enough weather to keep the drifting going and keep it on air. So we shall see. It's lurking right now.
Yeah. Well, we'll drive through it. Hey, if anything, it's better on tires. So I mean. I'll take that.
The tire wear thing is good, but that's just not the same as driving in the dry.
No, it is not.
Sorry.
Absolutely not. And you're not going to get the smoke show like you get with...
Rainy events are fun. In December, I had a good rainy event with a couple of buddies locally, and, it was some really fun rainy tandems and stuff. And obviously, we're hoping everyone can adapt tomorrow and get the same effect and have a little fun and still compete either way. But, it's definitely here right now. It is definitely starting to rain at the moment. So we were hoping it would give us a little more time today, and also hoping it blows over pretty fast. But it definitely caught up to us right about the time we opened practice back up and did this. So here we go.
That's part of it, man. What are you going to do?
Yeah.
So, well, let me ask you this, Lawless, because you and I actually haven't talked about this yet. Why are you not driving?
I don't have a car that can compete.
Same.
Yeah, I don't have a competition car. I enjoy competition drifting. I've gone to competition drifting since it started in Atlanta. I was at the first Formula Drift, and gone to all those. I never went to Clutch Kickers, but I've been to different series and different events that are more of competition for fun. Did some local competing when I was younger, and mostly just kind of on the fun thing, like, hey, let's go shake things up and have a good time. But as competitive drifting progressed, and I kind of stayed on the grassroots side of it, I just don't have a car that is up to spec for the tech inspection, like full-blown roll cages and containment seats. And I respect it, but I just don't have it. And so,
I'm right there with you,
I bring my car out and I party when I can. And, I'm hoping to drive some other cars in the future and maybe do, I don't know about competing, but man, I'd love to drive some grid life stuff or something like that.
For
And
sure.
yeah, I've really just got to decide what to do, whether to take my car to that level or to build my little beater practice car into something that can do that.
Absolutely.
But yeah, what about you? And you don't same thing?
Say,
just
I'm in the
car?
same boat you are, my friend. I am in the same boat.
We're having
And
fun, but-
we are going to bring Curtis Hall on, who is one of our technical directors here, and he's going to come help answer some of the questions that you may have about, like, maybe you're interested in driving clutch kickers, but you're like looking through the rule book and you're like, oh man, what do I actually need to be able to
Right.
drive this track? And you highlighted some of those: the full cage, no bolt-on cage that has to be welded.
Yep, welding cage is a
Yeah,
big thing.
yeah,
And
that's-
that's pretty standard for a lot of functioning or sanctioning bodies in the drifting world, both in competitive and some non. It's always been a topic of debate in the drifting world because a lot of us are just not on that level. But the fact is, it's a safety thing, and having a cage and the proper equipment to keep you safe in a crash is important for both the organization, the driver, and everyone involved. But yeah, there's going to be some clarification on that, why it's necessary or what is necessary and what's not, and how things are going to change as the series progresses.
Well, speaking of which, Curtis actually just walked by. We were going to wait for him a little bit later, but because of the rain delay, we get Curtis to come hang out with us. So give him just a second. He's going to get mic'd up with us. Go ahead, just put it on. There you go.
Okay.
Curtis, you should be mic'd up, ready to go.
All right, perfect.
Bring it a little bit closer to your mouth. There you go. All
Like
right,
here.
see, we're all professionals here. We know exactly what we're doing. So, Curtis, what we're talking about is a little bit about what maybe you're not a first-time driver, but maybe this is your first comp, and you don't necessarily have a car that has been built for a comp like Clutch Kickers.
Okay.
What would you tell them that they need to do critically in order to pass tag?
I mean, the easiest thing is just go to our website, clutchgears.com. Go to the technical section, read the rule book 6 or 7 different times, right?
And he means that. It's not a joke.
Yeah, I mean, like,
Yeah.
Read through the whole thing.
To give you guys some background, I've worked in Formula D as a crew chief for 11 seasons now, this being my 11th. I've been involved in drifting for longer than I'm willing to admit here. I read the rule books every single year 2 or 3 times for that.
Yeah, I mean, you kind of, it's one of those things, it's a constant evolution. There's new technology, there's new driving aids, things that you got to write out of rule books and make sure that it's not going to be an issue for discrimination for other drivers, things like that.
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah.
And my main focus with going through and writing some of the new rules for this year, I know one of the big things that's come up has been the cages and all that.
Yeah.
And most of what I structured into the rule book were safety things.
Yeah.
It wasn't, I want to include as many cars as I can, as many wild varieties. We have structure in there to where we're allowing subframe swaps and weird suspension types and all that, but you just have to check with us to make sure, like, we don't want to give anybody a massive advantage.
Exactly.
But also, I don't want to exclude cars that, you put an S13 subframe in it to make it so it's at least the same as an S13 and you're not at a huge disadvantage.
Absolutely. So that was actually something Austin and I were talking about earlier. Is like, this has always sort of been a debate for grassroots series like this, where we do have pro spec drivers that are here with us today, or that will be here with us this weekend. So how do you kind of like balance the grassroots driver and the pro driver experience? I mean, that's got to be a little complicated.
I mean, the biggest thing, which was also some controversy, obviously, was coming out with a tire width rule.
Yep.
Yeah.
I was a big advocate for that from the beginning when talking with Ken and everything we were going to do here. I fished it around. I talked to a lot of people about it, and most of it was good results coming back. And the track kind of plays a role. You know, it's hard to really get a runaway from anybody here
Right.
and all that kind of stuff. But as far as you'll never be able to control horsepower or who
No.
makes more, who makes less, all that kind of stuff. You can just kind of hope it balances out in the tightness of the course. Some gentleman rules in there and a tire restriction.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, I can get, I've seen a lot of other people implementing that as different organizations try and run series. And I think I think a lot of people were stoked, and then there's a few people that weren't. But, that's always going to happen when you're updating and changing rules with anything, and especially starting up the series again. And, some details may change, some may stay the same. But, yeah, we're glad to hear why and, hear what's going on. And people need to know, like, okay, well, this is what it is, and it's kind of an equalizer rule.
Yep.
You know,
On that same topic, right, with the guys that are anything you have a question about as far as the tech rules, why we made a decision, what you're unhappy about, what you love, any of it, email me.
Mm-hmm.
Reach out to the tech at clutchkickers.com. Shoot me an email. Let's have a discussion. I want to hear from every driver, good, bad, and in between, because we're doing all of this for you guys. It's all for you guys. So I need your input for us to keep building it better and better and better.
Awesome. Well, Curtis, any closing words for us? Anything else that the spectators need to be on the lookout for tomorrow?
Be ready to see a great competition.
I love it. I love it. Well, sounds like we may have Sarah ready. So give us just a second. We're going to transition over to Sarah Reardon and the Race Data Labs team while they tell us a little bit more about the system that they're going to be using. It's been used in Drift Masters. It's making its first debut over here in the U.S., so they've got some interesting information for us. So, Sarah, we'll pass it over to you, my friend.
Can we both go on the same side, or is it
You guys can be on each side.
one on each?
You on that side.
Hey guys, how's it going? We're hiding out from the rain down here. I have Mike and Tony from Race Data Labs, and the important thing they want to talk about is this awesome new tool that we're going to be using tomorrow. So first off, I'm going to ask you guys, what is Race Data Labs?
Well, I guess it's Michael's passion project from many years ago. But at the end of the day, we're both drifters. We both know what this sport's all about. We know that the sport needs information. We know the judges are on a hell of a job. They've got so much work to do. They're watching so many runs, and we just want to provide them with so much more information so they can make their informed judgment calls. But this guy's the brains of the operation. I tell you what, he's been working on it for 8-9 years, maybe longer. A brilliant system.
Do you want to add anything to that?
Yeah, so basically, Race Data Labs, we build a technology that captures drift data. It captures in super high accuracy. We transmit that data in real time. It's for us to consume, the judges. It's for the audience to consume and the drivers. So it's making the whole sport transparent and giving the whole sport data that other motorsports have had, like Formula One for 50 years. Drifting now has it.
And some of this amazing data that we're talking about, you guys are going to get to see on the live stream tomorrow, so make sure you tune into that. But getting a little more into the details, can you show us exactly what it is on the car and how you're going to measure? Which is behind me, so I'm going to scoot back a little bit.
We'll see if we can get right in here with the weather. So the device itself is the technical device. This has all of the GPS telemetry equipment inside it. It is referencing what we've done here at the track. We've gone and drawn the track in the digital environment. So when this is running around on the roof of the car, it has the ability to position itself on track. And then all of the calculations in the back end is what gives us the drift angle, the speed, the whole list. So you've got
proximity.
Yeah, proximity to the other car.
Proximity. Yeah. So the device transmits in real time over a custom radio network. We get that data, we virtualize it, we digitize the virtualized environment, and we can analyze it forever. We can see how close cars are. We can see if they're dropping wheels. We can see if they're accelerating or decelerating. It just opens up the world of the drifting and analyzing it for lots of depth. Depth is the key word.
Gotcha. So the judges are going to be using what you guys collect from this neat little gadget you have here in order to help them, like a tool, in order to make a call during a battle.
Yeah. So traditionally, drift judging is really, really hard.
Agreed.
And there's stuff that the judges just can't see. When the car's on the other side of the track, maybe there's a bad camera angle. The system, the Wally system, can see every angle. It can see where the tires are on track again. And we can pan around. Because it's digital, We can pan around. We can use every angle possible that the cameras just can't get. We can see stuff that your eyes can't see. So it's just opening all that up for us now.
Yeah, when you're watching a stream, when you're watching at home, when you're watching here at the track, when you're seeing the second car behind, 2,000 horsepower cars, the tire smoke is spraying, you really struggle to see what that second car's doing. Because we've got an uninterrupted view in a digital environment, we can see wheel drops, we can see off track, a whole lot. It's mad. It's mad.
Yeah, we're on a sort of a preview stream here, but tomorrow you guys are going to get to see that data, so make sure you come back to the YouTube stream, check it out for yourself. We're excited to have you guys here, have you guys as part of our judging team, and to be able to have this actual data to go off of as another tool. This is going to be the first time in the U.S. that we get to see this. You guys want to talk about that a little bit?
Well, yeah, this is groundbreaking day for us. We have the device on drift cars for the first ever time in the US today, and it's going to be used for the first ever time in the US in competition tomorrow. So a huge thank to Ken and the team here at Mid-Pond and everyone. They're doing such a great job of lifting the quality of the sport and bringing vendors like us in. So we're obviously stoked to be here, but it's going to be great for the sport. We're so blessed.
It's such an awesome opportunity to collaborate, to push the sport, help the drivers drive better, give the audience more insight. It's just this environment is overall just better for the sport in general.
Couldn't agree more. I'm so excited to see it in action tomorrow. Make sure you don't miss it. There will be a live stream. We're sort of doing a little test run today. But thank you so much. I'm going to throw back up to you guys in the booth, and we'll see you tomorrow.
Awesome. Sarah, Tony, Michael, thank you so much. That's awesome. I even, especially because they're Australian, they're amazing people.
Sorry, well,
Cars coming.
in the background.
But the fact that they are just so passionate about drifting, they're drifters themselves, they bring an interesting element to all of this, and they're such good humans, so we're so stoked to have them here with us.
Yeah, really excited for the Race Data Labs guys to be here and to be implementing this and to start kicking off that tech right here at Klutch Kickers, right here at Mid-Pond. Really cool stuff, just like evolution as far as I'm concerned. I'm kind of old in drifting years and haven't seen a ton of tech updates over time, and to see something like that get brought into here for the first time and start to get its legs and take off is like pretty rad.
Yeah, absolutely. And I mean, it's cringe for me to say this, but the only thing that's constant is change. So it's one of those things like, hey, surprise, Klutch Kickers is back. Oh, by the way, we're also got a digital telemetry judging system.
Yeah.
It's exciting, right?
Super stoked.
Well, so we've seen a couple of the questions come through from you. We wanted to make sure we address those. And one of the big questions we've been getting is, what the heck is going on with qualifying? Well, so for this particular round, we did not have enough drivers. So we had less than 32 drivers. So per what we had mentioned in the schedule post, we are not going to do qualifying. So basically everybody made the field that showed up. So what an awesome opportunity for these drivers. There's 10K on the line just for this round alone. So those drivers pretty much that showed up, all of them have a fantastic chance to come home with some money. And that's first through fifth place. So
yeah, that's pretty good. That's pretty heavy odds when the driver count's low. We sticking that out and sticking to it no matter what. And we kind of expected that maybe the first run would be a little low, and enough people showed up that we can run the show. We're not canceling. We're not dropping any of the payouts. We're just running the show as we're going to run it.
Yep.
And anyone that showed up and is ripping gets to reap the benefits. And we hope, obviously, that more people are going to show up. But right now, because of that count, we're kind of running to the, okay, well, you don't really have to run the qualifying because only X amount of people. But we do have a system for picking that. It was like are we going over that today, the lottery system?
yeah, we'll talk about that here in a second. We've got some drivers that are coming by, so we're going to pause for just a second so that they can go.
Some practice in the rain out here.
Oh, I love it.
Couple
Fantastic.
of the
All right,
cars.
I think we can actually hear each other now. So let's talk a little bit about qualifying, and let's address the elephant in the room here, because I know that's a concern for a lot of drivers who did see the announcements about how we were handling qualifying. And I'll be honest with you, we have the same concerns. So the double elimination is something new that was introduced, and it's really designed to, most people call it a loser's bracket, which is really designed to give a driver another opportunity to make it to that final, to that final top 8, if you will, or grade 8. And so we're kind of on the field, like if we get to 64 drivers, how are we going to get through with double elimination? So we are going to try some things different with the schedule. So obviously we're switching qualifying to Fridays. We're going to do our driving most of the day on Saturday. We'll still have our warm-up session like we typically do on Saturday mornings. And then we're basically going to go straight into driving early in the morning and carry it through the rest of the day. And of course, top 16 would be on Sunday, as well as our podium. So it's going to be a little iffy. We understand we have the same concerns, but you know what? You don't know until you try. And we are very fortunate that we have drivers that are like, heck, you know what? I'm down. Let's do it. We got a staff that's like, yeah, let's do it. Let's figure out what works. Same thing with the Wally system. We want to see what's going to disrupt and what's going to change. Now, I'm not saying double elimination is going to disrupt, but it's definitely going to get some people talking, as it already has.
It has already, yes. So bear with us
Yeah,
as we
bear
work
with
these
us for
things out,
sure.
you know?
Well, so let's talk about the lottery too, because that's going to be an interesting opportunity for drivers.
Absolutely. We got our practice cars coming back by 1 second here.
Let's wave at them.
Yeah. Got a Mustang and a 350Z out there. Actually, a couple of the quieter cars on the course today.
Shockingly. Imagine that. It's because it's not a VQ.
Yeah. Well, there's Dustin. He fixed it. There's a VQ on there now.
Yep, sorry. Sorry, thanks, Justin.
But yeah. Yeah,
But-
so I don't actually, I'll be honest, I'm a little behind on that. I heard about it, so I'm sorry you're having to carry this right now.
No, that's
but,
okay, man. This has become my life here lately, so buckle up. But yeah, so we're going to do a lottery system. So since we do not have, even if we do qualifying, like we have enough drivers for qualifying, on Saturday mornings, we're going to do a little bit of a lottery where we're going to have like basically drivers pick a ball, or in this case, it may be little rubber ducks. Who knows at this point? It's mid-pond. It's always something with ducks. But yeah, they'll pull out their number, and that's going to be their number in their number in their bracket.
Yeah.
So what's going to be interesting is we're actually going to give the drivers an opportunity to trade. Rock, paper, scissors, fight to the death, whatever they want to do.
Whatever it takes, yeah. We're going to put a couple people together if they want to switch it up. And there's like an opportunity to kind of shuffle that around, which is an interesting way of letting people kind of sort that out as well. Maybe if someone has a battle they're really wanting and they can work that out, that's kind of a neat opportunity for the drivers.
Yeah, absolutely. And, you know, if we don't want it to take too long. Obviously, we want to get straight to driving, so give them about 5 minutes to fight it out, and then we'll go straight into driving. Because one of the things that's going to be interesting is we got to get that bracket lined up so that we can get it shared with you as soon as possible.
Yep.
Yeah,
Trying to be
absolutely.
transparent with whatever's going on here and let you guys know what's going on as it's going on, and that's going to be something that we're figuring out along the way. But we are going to be on top of it as much as we can, try and keep the show rolling for you guys, and hopefully keep you entertained in between. You know, got some tandem practice in the rain right now. The rain's kind of lightened up. Hopefully it stays chill today and tomorrow, but there's not a whole lot of practice left today, so a couple of these drivers are out there feeling it out, which is smart, because if it does rain tomorrow, you're going to want to have tried to drive this place in the rain, because it is a very different track when it is dry versus when it's wet. The grip levels and the ability to grip and slip and shoot all over the course just changes quite a bit when it's wet. There's a couple patchy areas. There's a couple areas out here that are especially patchy and sketchy in the rain. If you've driven out here, you already know you come around near the start-finish line, and there's a little spot that you got to almost expect the car to flop to lock. Things like that are going to shake things up right at a couple of touch and goes and coming out of some outer zones. So, yeah, hopefully the couple of drivers can get some practice today in the rain in case it really hits tomorrow. And, we'll pray for some sun.
Yeah, please send it our way. We appreciate it.
Yeah, we're going to need it. But
well, sweet. Well, I know the rain is kind of slowing some things down for some of the drivers, so we don't want to take up your time unnecessarily. But please, if you have questions, if you're interested in being a driver, if you want to just come and be a part of the staff, we would love to hear from you. This is it. Thanks, Dustin. Thanks, Dustin. So this is a fantastic opportunity. I can tell you this has been a phenomenal experience for me. And Austin, I'm sure you agree.
I'm excited to be here. You know, it might not seem like it because I'm wearing sunglasses and hiding my face deliberately so that I don't not everyone can tell how much I'm looking around and not at the camera. But yeah, excited to be here, to be a part of this, and hoping to just keep people informed as we go along, keep the show rolling, keep it exciting, and fill a little bit of that space in between the competition. Really just stoked for the ride. Keep it going.
I love it. So, check out the website. Look at those rule books. See if you qualify. If not,
Yeah.
get to work. Come on, man. Build your car. Let's go. Let's go drive.
Yeah, if you've read the rule book, read it again.
What? Thanks, Curtis.
Yeah.
But yeah, so like us on Instagram, Facebook. Of course, we've got the YouTube channel still.
Yep.
We're still working on TikTok, so apologies for those of you who prefer TikTok. We're working on that. But yeah, so be sure to follow and follow along in this journey. If you have questions, shoot them over to us. We'd love to answer them.
Yep. Hopefully we can do that as it progresses. Hopefully we'll get more fluid and better at answering those questions and you know,
Yeah,
keep everyone informed and having a good time.
absolutely. Well, until tomorrow, pray for no rain, and we'll see you soon.